One of my biggest fears is zombies because when I was a kid I was shown one of the Resident Evil movies and I couldn't sleep for a night, and ever since then I've hated zombies.
Outhouses. I do not breathe when inside an outhouse. That's nasty. Can you just imagine the things that are floating in that air? So inside of an outhouse, I hold my breath at all costs.
The first one is have you ever been on an escalator and missed a step and you're like, oh my god, my toe is going to get stuck in the escalator and I'm going to die? That's me every single time. And that's not...
I have a crazy fear of sneezing while driving. I think I'm so scared of that is because I sneeze really hard, so I close my eyes and I jerk reaction, and you never know where the car's going to go, and so I don't like that feeling of being out of control.
One of my other biggest fears is people unexpectedly touching me or people just touching me in general that I don't know or trying to hug me. It freaks me out. Even a handshake, just don't do it. Just no.
So I have two biggest fears. First and foremost, needles. That includes drawing blood, getting my blood drawn, seeing anyone else get their blood drawn. Even thinking about people getting their blood drawn right now is freaking me out. It sends chills up and down my spine. I have no idea why.
Dog eye boogers. Those are nasty. Like when a dog's got these eye boogers and you don't know what to do, like you want to help the dog, but the boogers are gross. I just don't like touching them. I think it's nasty.
I guess if I had to pick one, growing up in New Mexico, we used to have centipedes that I could hear in the walls sometimes at night. We had a good house, don't get me wrong, we weren't in like a shack or anything, but I could hear centipedes in the walls. So if I had to pick something, I would say I'm pretty deathly afraid of centipedes.
Another one would be surgery. Cannot watch surgery on TV. If there's a show showing a scene of surgery, I'll focus on like the corner of the screen and not look at it, or I can block it with my hands. And once I see it's done, then I'll watch the whole screen again.
One is, you know how your mom always told you to leave the seat down in the toilet? Well, there's a reason for that. Because if you don't, and you're a grown man like I am, and you miss sitting down, what do you think happens? What do you think happens at 12:30 at night when the seat's up? What do you think happens? Yeah, that happens. Cold. That's what happens.
My biggest fear of all is heights, because I've hated riding roller coasters and I can't jump off of big things. I just hate heights.
One of my greatest fears is reclining chairs, because when I was little, when all the little kids would come to visit my grandparents, my grandfather would tell us that if we sat in his recliner, that it would eat us. So now I'm still afraid to sit in reclining chairs because I'm afraid I'm going to get stuck in it.
Would be touching my eyeball, or people that can touch their own eyeball. That freaks me out. I don't know if people can touch their eyes.
One of my biggest fears is public pools. I think they're absolutely disgusting. I cannot go into a pool if it's open to the public or even in an apartment complex. Freaks me out.
My biggest fear has to be, hands down, spiders. You have to deal with 8 legs, they're hairy, 1,000 eyes on top of it. It's a no-go for me, Doug. It's going to be a no for me, Doug.
Another one that freaks me out is Cheeto fingers on little kids. When little kids have eaten Cheetos and their fingers are like orange and kind of like, you can say it's wet, and if they touch you, it's going to get all over you. That kind of freaks me out. It's like bad parenting.
So I actually have a lot of fears, and they come in the form of children that I don't know about. Got a lot of little kids probably hopping around all over the world. Thankfully, as far as I know, child support doesn't transfer across continents, so I should be okay. If not, I guess I have another fear about that. So, that's about it. Those are my fears.
Second one, elbows. I don't like, other people's elbows are fine. My elbows, I don't like people touching my elbows, specifically on the inside of my elbows. Now, the reason for that goes way back when I was little, and I actually had cancer, and my elbows became very sensitive after that, and so ever since then it freaks me out when people touch my elbows, so don't do it.
One of my biggest fears is clowns. I just have an irrational fear of clowns for some reason. I can't really explain why.
First one. So then the second one is, when I was a kid, I got a case of the hiccups really, really bad one time. And my mom needed to scare me because that's how she knew how to get them out of me. So, little Anthony, 7 years old, goes and uses the bathroom, and she says, be careful. Snakes can attack you from underneath. So since I was 7 years old, I have always thought that the way I'm going to meet my death is either A, I'm gonna fall through an escalator and die, or a snake's gonna kill me while I'm on a toilet.
So those. Finally, new foods. Not good at trying new foods. Foods with weird texture freak me out. I watch people and I'm like, that looks fun, it looks creative, but I don't want nothing to do with it. So I'm not good at trying new foods. I like the basics: pizza, burger, steak, french fries.